Hello and welcome to the 13th annual Celebration of Success for small businesses and how they are collaborating for success within their communities. I'm Dave Hausman. I'm SCORE mentor. I know some of you very well, and I'm the current chapter chairperson for the SCORE of Chester and Delaware counties. On behalf of my colleagues, many of whom are here today, I'm honored to be hosting today's event. I'd like to recognize a couple people from SCORE outside of our chapter. Where is our district VP, Joe Brisby? Where's Joe? Over in the corner. And that's Bob Bewley coming in now. Bob is our district director. And for everybody that knows, we are recording today's event so that people can watch it later. It's being live streamed to Facebook as well. The agenda for today's program is on the table in front of you. And first thing we're going to do, though, is hear from our premier sponsor for today, Citadel Credit Union. And then most importantly, we will have the main reason we're here today is to recognize the people and the businesses that are being celebrated. And we'll hear from them stories and their reflections on working with SCORE. And then we're going to have host a panel discussion by 4 of our mentors on what it's like to collaborate in today successfully. I'd like to really thank Citadel as a sponsor for their continuing support. They've sponsored us for a number of years, and they really recognize what it takes to help small business in the area. They're very small business oriented. At SCORE, we're committed to client success. It's our mission. I'm proud to volunteer alongside more than 100 business experts here in the Chester and Delaware counties and over 10,000 volunteers nationwide who dedicate their time to give back and share their skills and experience to support entrepreneurs. We do this through offering free one-on-one business mentoring, as well as educational training through workshops and some webinars, and an extensive set of resources like templates, articles, blogs, and references to local resources such as the Chester County Library. At SCORE, we leverage the full power of the nationwide SCORE network. We call it One SCORE. Although our volunteers are based here in Chester and Delaware counties, we help clients all over the U.S. and invite other SCORE business experts from across the U.S. to aid our clients on specific business questions and challenges. Some of the SCORE mentees have probably had subject matter experts that we've called in from around the country to help them. For over 60 years, SCORE has been aiding the small business community across the U.S., and we're proud of the tremendous impact SCORE has had on the economy and the small business community. In 2022 alone, SCORE nationally has helped create over 30,000 new businesses and more than 112,000 new jobs. And when you figure that in terms of the cost per business, the cost per job, it's very cost effective. Our chapter helped start over 200 new businesses and create over 400 new jobs in our community alone. 55% of the business clients that were already in business when they came to us say they've increased their business revenue with the help of SCORE. This is quite impressive, especially in the challenging environment that we've been in. As you can see, our volunteers contribute more than 3,700 hours helping clients who are quite satisfied with the support. So we're rated by the clients. One of our metrics is how well you succeed with us. Our services help businesses stay in operation and grow. SCORE is very proud resource partner of the Small Business Administration, and our local office director, Kim Stout, is with us today. We work very closely with members of the Eastern Pennsylvania office in King of Prussia to help support clients. Now back to Citadel, our primary sponsor to today. They're a dedicated sponsor of the awards program since its inception, and this is the 13th year. They're committed to helping small business grow and celebrating the success. And so we're going to hear now from Phil Sutliff at Citadel. Phil is head of the small business banking at Citadel Credit Union. He has a decade of experience managing growth-minded business teams and working directly with businesses of all sizes. In 2021, Phil joined Citadel to create the business banking division, which successfully launched in August of 2022. So a lot went on during the pandemic, other than just the small business. Under Phil's leadership, Citadel Business Banking has received nationwide recognition as they now serve nearly 10,000 businesses across the greater Philadelphia area. Phil? Where's Phil? There you go.
All right. Well, again, welcome to the 2023 SCORE Annual Achievement Awards. I'd like to start by extending a warm thank you to Pin Oaks Golf Club for hosting this event, and your staff. You're doing a great job, and we appreciate you. Also, a thank you to our distinguished guests, which include past and present winners. We're honored to share this moment by your side. You know, today, we're here to commemorate and celebrate small business owners who had the courage to believe in their dream and bet on themselves, while they also had the wisdom and humility to partner with a team of experts and surround themselves with mentors like SCORE right here in Chester and Delaware counties. They've accomplished amazing things and inspired us all. With that, I would like to recognize and take a moment to shout out to each of the 2023 winners. They include, in Chester County, the Creative Club of Chester County, CJ Witherspoon and Ben Yoko. This nonprofit was founded to nurture creative projects in children and teens. The Creative Club has a space in an innovative building in Coatesville that provides space for a number of startup businesses and organizations. I'd say that's collaboration. We also have Body for Me Mini Spa with Latasha Jackson. Now, this startup reimagines self-care as a necessity for its clients who are busy working mothers who care for children and adults around them, but don't always have the time to care for themselves, and they're located right in West Goshen. Next, we have, also in Chester County, Tiger Resilience with Bernie Tiger. As an addiction recovery professional, Bernie Tiger noticed that services focus on recovering patients and are lacking for families and friends who provide so much vital support. So Bernie created programs for families and recovering addicts to help them develop resilience in the face of ongoing struggles. We then have a winner from Philadelphia, and that's Life Made Easy with Marina Lawrence. This residential cleaning service in Philadelphia recently expanded to the Lehigh Valley, so they're scaling and growing. Marina Lawrence noticed the need for busy people to engage the support of residential cleaners who are trained, screened, and professionally managed. And then, finally, we have a winner from South Carolina, and that is Advanced EEOC Solutions, LLC with Garrison Brickett. When Garrison was a subcontractor investigating Equal Employment Opportunity Commission claims on behalf of the federal government, he learned there would be an opportunity to become a prime through whom other subcontractors would submit their investigations. He's seen a significant boost in revenue, and he has become a prime, making a great impact. Let's give one more round of applause for the winners. You know, these businesses embody what it means to live on purpose and with purpose. They inspire each of us to take hold of that same spirit of collaboration and believe that we too can change our corner of the world. Small businesses, they are the lighthouses on our main streets. Fueled by passion, they bring innovative ideas, better solutions, and progress to our communities. They lift us, and we lift them. That's what makes collaboration so powerful. The fact that you can have a dream and invite others, like those experts and mentors at SCORE, to believe in that dream with you, to break down barriers, build bridges, and climb mountains to help make that dream a reality. That's the same spirit we have at Citadel Business Banking. We too believe in the power of collaboration. It's our experienced relationship managers, just like SCORE mentors, that will act as your trusted advisors and ultimately are held to the standard of becoming your financial champion. They'll partner with you, whether you're a business that's growing or a long-standing establishment. And we've got a suite of world-class products and solutions that can be customized into a specific banking plan for your unique business and your unique needs. That's collaboration. Partnering together to help businesses scale to their potential and leave a lasting impact in the communities, neighborhoods, and local economies that we all love and cherish. With that said, we're here today, again, to recognize and celebrate the winners for 2023. Remember, as you hear their stories, that you don't have to take a challenging path by yourself. You can surround yourself with others, and there's nothing that we can't do together. Just ask these winners. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to take a short break to start enjoying our lunch. And during this time, we're going to be giving out a couple door prizes. So stay alert, and we'll be asking some questions. Some of us can't win, so you have a better chance. All right, talk to you in a few minutes. And in a few minutes, our mentors and a diverse set of award winners reflect on their accomplishments, which are wonderful stories of recognizing business opportunities, being proactive in developing innovative products and approaches, and giving back to our communities. We are fortunate in Chester and Delaware counties to have long relationships with our public-private sector. On behalf of the volunteers and clients, I thank our state and local leaders, chambers of commerce, libraries, and the governments of Chester and Delaware counties. We are truly appreciative of the support and the partnership. We want to especially thank the Chester County Commissioners for their financial support of our chapter and the quality office and meeting space where we can meet with mentors. Our mentors can meet with their clients, and the volunteers themselves can meet. And we have our offices at the Government Services Building on Southwest Elm Road for anybody that hasn't been there yet. So without further ado, we're pleased to introduce the 2023 SCORE Small Business Award winners. CJ and Ben, you want to come up? I'm lucky enough to have been the mentor for these gentlemen. CJ and Witherspoon and Ben Yoakum first came to SCORE in early 2021 during the pandemic with their concept for a technology-based education program for kids. I really can't take too much credit for their success since they're very knowledgeable and very driven. We worked on their business plan. We discussed profit versus nonprofit, and they're now a nonprofit. And they were just telling me they have a contract with Apple that just came through to provide the computers. Yeah. We worked at, also we introduced them to some of the local organizations like the Chester County Intermediate Unit, so they can work with kids from the schools. That's their primary purpose here. Perhaps pointing them in some useful directions was all they really needed. Since they're up and running at the Midway Arts Building in Coatesville, teaching kids all about video, computers, and related technologies. And we have a video we're going to watch.
We started the Creative Club in 2021, and the whole purpose of the club was to try to meet the community, collaborate with the community, and help them enhance their skills in whatever creative route they would like to take.
We connected with SCORE in 2021 thanks to our partner ISMAC at the Kutztown SBDC. She really liked what we had going on, and she said, you need to meet someone at SCORE, and I have the perfect person for you. His name is David Hausman. Throughout the process of creating the Creative Club, David Hausman was key to getting it to where we are today. And it all started with a business plan. With our previous businesses, we did not need a business plan. We just kind of went in and just said, this is what we're doing. But David said, if you want to take this business and scale it at some point, you need to have a North Star. So here's a website to create your business plan, and here's some resources to help you in what you should say.
I would say our collaboration with David Hausman was super important because personally, I'm a film guy, not a business person. So learning how to scale a business even larger the proper way from the beginning, that's where David was really helpful. And now instead of saying we're film guys, I feel like now we've evolved into more business guys, taking admin roles, holding Zoom calls, setting up enrichment programs, collaborating with the community. So it just keeps going, and it's a good snowball effect to have.
I would say our current challenges are because of our location and what people believe of the location. It seems a little difficult to get people from outside of the city part of Coatesville to come in. But I do believe over the next couple of years, as the city continues to build up, that those will go away, those worries will go away, because Coatesville is going through a revitalization right now. And you just wait a couple of years, people will be pouring into the town. One of the things that we are doing to combat our current challenges is that we are collaborating with other nonprofits, other companies, to bring people from outside of Coatesville into the city to show them what we can do, and that our space is a place that they can feel comfortable and safe and learn a lot. Throughout our journey, we have come across a lot of helpful people and businesses. We cannot thank everybody enough. The great people at SCORE have been with us from day one, and we couldn't thank everybody enough to let us be a part of this program.
I am Leslie Swope, SCORE co-mentor for Latasha Jackson. Unfortunately, John Lippman, my co-mentor, could not be here today to celebrate Latasha's award. We started working with Latasha in February 2021, shortly before the grand opening of her business, Body for Me Mini Spa, in April 2021. We were able to provide Latasha with valuable resources, such as SCORE online webinars and marketing support through West Chester University, as well as helping her to think through various business decisions, such as hiring staff, purchasing equipment, and choosing an accounting system. We reviewed her revenue and expense statements regularly, discussing ways to cut costs and increase revenue, particularly around her marketing plan. Working together as a team allowed us to provide ongoing support and guidance. Latasha's positivity and perseverance enabled her to continue with her business during COVID and embodies her entrepreneurial spirit. It has been a pleasure to work with her and watch her continued success. She is well positioned for the future.
So the name of my business is Body For Me Mini Spa. We're located in Westchester, PA. At my location, we offer facials, waxing, and body contouring. I was inspired to start my business after realizing that I was neglecting my own self-care. I, at some point, was working full-time and part-time. I'm a wife and a mother and just wore so many different hats that I was experiencing burnout. To decompress, I already had a love for spas and me time anyway. But when I was looking at spas to go to, they were either too far or too pricey. So being the entrepreneur that I am, I just decided to create my own experience and share that with local communities, offering a variety of services for people just like me. I connected with SCORE in February of 2021. At that point, I already had the idea for Body For Me. I had drafted a business plan, but I wasn't really sure what steps to take next. So I reached out to SCORE for guidance and assistance. My SCORE mentor, John Lippman and Leslie Swoop, they were essential in helping me resolve my issues. They exposed me to workshops, connected me with leaders in the industry and specialists, and also provided open and honest feedback, which was crucial in me just developing realistic expectations. So one thing that I would not have ever considered in my business was the time of year and how that impacts the industry. In conversations with John and Leslie, they were able to make me focus on the times of year or the seasons that would be slower versus when times would pick up based off of trended information. My collaboration with SCORE was extremely important. Ultimately, having that sounding board and feedback was essential in helping me just grow and develop as a business owner. The outlook for the future is super bright. I'm really excited about some of the incentives that we are starting. We are already started memberships. We plan to launch loyalty reward programs and referral bonuses. In addition to that, we are going to continue to provide quality service and personable experiences for our clients.
Will Dave Callum come up and introduce his client, Tiger Resilience? Bernie, please join us as well.
Good afternoon. My name is Dave Callan, and unfortunately, my co-mentor, Pete Shaw, couldn't be with us today. I am here to recognize, of course, Bernie and his work. When the request for a SCORE mentor came across my laptop to work with an organization that's focused on helping families deal with trauma of a loved one facing addiction, I knew this was a client that I not only wanted, but needed to help. When you have a family member, as I do, with a substance use disorder, something like this hits really close to home. Tiger Resilience Addiction Solutions helps transform families and their loved ones affected by addiction by providing the tools one needs to bring happiness back into your life. Bernie Tiger, founder of Tiger Resilience, came to SCORE looking for support with his marketing efforts. He had already established the idea that providing family coaching services could be supplemented with online self-help educational programs. Among other areas Pete and I worked with was the idea of looking at an engagement to do a website review and providing feedback to Bernie in hopes of tightening up the messaging that he was delivering and making it more apparent that the types of services he was offering were those that needed to be featured. Thankfully, we had a subject matter expert in Ela Wasli to help us out as well. Bernie and his team are tackling a much underserved community. Families that include an active substance user need to know there are resources that can assist them with their own recovery journey. While there are more and more resources available for the active user in private practice or through government programs and initiatives, until one recognizes that the family is also the patient, this part of the family unit needs care. Bernie's years of work in the field of addiction and mental health treatment have prepared him for the long yet unwavering commitment to coaching, counseling, expertise, support, and guidance as his clients forge their own unique path towards making a calculated difference while living lives that they love. Let's hear directly from Bernie now.
So Tiger Resilience was a program that we offer addiction solutions for family members and friends who have a loved one who is struggling with addiction challenges, behavioral health as well as addiction challenges. So what inspired me is after many years of working in the field with substance use, predominantly in inpatient settings, one of the biggest challenges that I found was that a lot of patients and the recidivism challenges that they had coming in and out of treatment was the lack of support. And it wasn't so much the dynamics of support with the individual, but the family members, because they did not know what was going on. They did not understand the dynamics behind addiction, substance use, and all of the challenges that the individual is facing. And I felt that the greatest need we have really is working with family members. And most treatment programs do not think that way because the money is not really in the families, it's actually in the patient itself. So that's really what inspired me. And my success with patients always stemmed from working with family members and helping them and assisting them, educating them and guiding them along the process, which helped create additional accountability systems, but also stabilize the family. My challenges certainly, and one of the things that was very beneficial for SCORE is I needed to step outside of the box. I needed to get out of the woods. I was, as an operator, as a developer, as a content creator, I was kind of lost in it, and the marketing aspects was a real challenge because there's just so many different parts to it. And so I reached out to SCORE and I asked if I could get some guidance on that. One of the things that Dave did help me with regarding the challenges was working specifically with the social media and trying to identify which area in social media I should really target for my particular audience. Considering that there is a plethora of options out there, it was really trying to fine-tune what my niche was within a specific social media platform. And he helped me to break down and identify the Instagram as well as the Facebook. And we did have some early YouTube discussions with that too, but the Instagram and Facebook were really the starting points for my platform. And his research and knowledge was invaluable for me because that's what helped me get me in that direction. Collaboration for me is absolutely essential because I am in a program that I work with human services. As a social element, there's multiple sources that I need to connect with, and having collaborative efforts, whether it be universities, whether it be programs, whether it be networks of individuals, whether it be nonprofits, is absolutely crucial for me to be successful in my business because that collaborative effort is really where I'm going to be able to build my business and grow my business.
And now we're going to have some citations for these award winners. We'll invite them to come up, the people that are presenting. Where'd she go? Yeah, come on up all at the same time.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Senator John Kane, and welcome to the 9th Senatorial District. And I'd like to thank SCORE for having me here today. And secondly, I'd like to congratulate all the people that are receiving the awards. I'd also like to mention the people that are mentoring these great, creative people out there that are starting these businesses. Because if it wasn't really for mentorship, a lot of us wouldn't be where we're at. And in fact, personally, myself, if it wasn't for the fact that I didn't have older people teaching me how to be a plumber, I wouldn't have been a good plumber. And I ended up being a very good plumber, and I passed that on to a lot of people that followed me. Also, Bernie, I'd just like to let you know I'm also in recovery. If it wasn't for people in recovery, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So, you know, beyond your wildest dreams is one of the things that they talk about. And who would ever figure that someday that this drunk would end up being a senator in the 9th senatorial district? Well, I am. And just to let you know, this October the 3rd will be 40 years of sobriety for this young kid, so. But in my business, they call me a quitter, but I can live with that. But on behalf of the Senate, we have a citation here for the Creative Club. I'm not going to go through it because it is lengthy, and I know like they like to say, be good, be fast, and be gone. So on behalf of the Senate and for my colleagues that aren't able to be here today, we would like to congratulate the Creative Club with a citation.
Yeah, we're gonna afterwards. We're gonna take, yeah.
All right, we'll get this going. All right, on behalf of the Mini Me Spa, our Body for Me and Mini Spa, we're recognizing you also for the great job that you have done with a citation from this Senate. And Tiger Resilience, LLC, on behalf of doing your great work and continued great work, congratulations. That's all I have.
Good afternoon. I'm Scott Nelson. I work for Congresswoman Chrissy Houlihan. Chrissy couldn't be here today. She was disappointed by that. She has come to these before. She spoke a few years ago. Unfortunately, she had to be in Washington last night to cast her vote to raise the debt ceiling. So she voted for that, and then it was an early start this morning up in Reading. So I'm here instead, and we have some congressional commendations to present. So first, I should just say that Chrissy served on the Small Business Committee for many years, and she's a serial entrepreneur herself. So SCORE is an organization that she feels very passionately about. I know it helped her, and she really believes that small business is the engine that grows our economy. First, I would like to give this on behalf of the office of Congresswoman Houlihan to the Creative Club. Also, we have one for Body for Me Mini Spa. Thank you. And of course, Tiger Resilience.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm Chris Pielli, a state representative from the 156th, and I'm here to honor Latasha Jackson and Body for Me. Latasha, congratulations. You actually had the House and Senate agree on something. You're fantastic. We're here to celebrate entrepreneurship, resilience, perseverance, and what SCORE does to help that. And I can't be prouder to give you this. And I'm very thankful for what you do in our community. And a good politician knows how to speak, but doesn't. So I'm going to keep it at that.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bobby Cagle. I'm the county administrator here on behalf of our three commissioners, Marion Moskowitz, Josh Maxwell, and Michelle Kickline. They had wanted to be here. They're here every year, and unfortunately, travel schedules and COVID, believe it or not, which is still a thing out there, prevented them from attending, so they certainly send their regrets. But they did send me with citations recognizing all 3 award winners. We have the Creative Club with CJ and Ben. I feel so short compared to Body for Me Mini Spa with Latasha. Because I am short, I have to keep reminding myself that. And then Tiger Resilience with Bernie. Bernie, we want to talk.
Okay. Before we continue with the awards ceremony, we're going to have a panel discussion. Today's theme is Collaboration for Success, and that will be moderated by our own Lynn Williams. Lynn, you want to bring up your panel members? And then we will continue the awards immediately afterwards.
All right, everyone. My name is Lynn Williams, and I will be your moderator here today. I'm going to first have the panel introduce themselves. So, who's got the mic? Take it on one end. No? I need the Wiley.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm a mentor. I've been a mentor for 4 years with SCORE, and I'm having a great time today. I think this is awesome. It's nice to see so many people.
Good afternoon, Dave Turner, mentor with SCORE. I've been a mentor for just past 5 years this past month. So happy to be here. Spent a lot of years in different businesses and after retiring, I helped a friend with a small business in Westchester, kind of turn that around, and that got me motivated to help other businesses. And nothing feels better than helping folks that truly appreciate what you're doing for them, and it gets me every week.
Hi, I'm not going to use this. Sorry. Can't hear. Okay, have to. I have been with SCORE since the start of COVID, and I am Canadian, so I'm just going to share that. You'll hear a lot of Canadian words come out of my mouth in the next little while. And I guess the theme for today is collaboration, and I think being in SCORE, I've been able to collaborate with a whole bunch of people and meet new people, and I think that's like something that I've taken from it as well as the collaboration within the SCORE team.
Hi, I'm Ed Chantagan. I've been with SCORE about 4.5 years now. I'm a retired grocer and taught guys how to sell and operate grocery stores.
And I'm Lynn Williams. I am an entrepreneur, and I write resumes and LinkedIn profiles for a living. I also run a nonprofit which helps job seekers and people in career management, meaning self-employed and employed, do similar workshops to what SCORE does. And I've been a SCORE mentee and an award winner in 2020. So yesterday, I celebrated my 10-year anniversary with SCORE. All right, so I have some questions, and because we only have one mic now, we're going to share. I'm going to ask one person a question, and then if anybody else has any add-ons, then pass the mic down. Just put your hand out, so that's the little acknowledgement. So the first one goes to Dave. By listening to stories of the award winners, we see how the SCORE mentor and business owner collaborate to help the business succeed. What are some other collaborations that have been especially helpful to the business owners, other entrepreneurs, Chamber of Commerce networks, SBDCs, professional associations, etc.?
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, I would say in my time mentoring with SCORE, one of the best collaborations and the most useful for clients that I almost always send clients to is the library system. And most people think when the internet came out, there was no more use for libraries. You could look up whatever you wanted online. But what I've learned is that the libraries have a whole lot more resources and specifically aimed to small businesses. So when I get a client who's what I call still the research and data gathering phase, I always send them to the library to identify who is your target customer, who is your competition, and look at an example of other business plans that are out there for similar businesses. I find that collaboration with the libraries, the library here in Chester County, as well as the Philadelphia Free Library and other libraries, to be one of the most valuable things for someone just starting out as an entrepreneur.
You know what? I was going to add something to that. I think the librarians, if you come across a librarian who has an expertise in business administration, it's always best to find the right librarian, because then they can give you even more resources as well. So I think it's the libraries, but also librarians that are really critical as well.
I'm going to add on to that library. For those of you who don't know, come September, I will be celebrating my 10-year anniversary with the Chester County Library. I am teaching LinkedIn. So I teach 3 hours a month, every month, for almost 10 years now. And if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, we need to talk. Vic. Okay, number 2. This one's for Eva. What collaborations within SCORE are most beneficial to the business owners?
Okay. We have a practice, for those of you who aren't familiar, that a lot of us co-mentor, which means that there are 2 SCORE volunteers with the client. I think that's hugely, hugely helpful, because even if you have the same background, which none of us, who could, right? There's still a lot of other value that people bring because of their world experiences, how they think, the ideas that they bring. I personally have co-mentored with probably 5 or 6 different other volunteers in the chapter and across the country. And it's fun. I think it's fun for the volunteers. I think it's great for the business owners. They always say, well, wait, do I have to pay double when there's 2 of you? Because obviously we don't charge for anything. But I think the co-mentoring is a huge add within the chapter. We also have a resource database of all 10,000 volunteers. And so if I am looking for someone who knows how to start a bakery, I can look online and find someone. And in fact, I did find someone in New York who was able to help my client, who was a biscotti baker, get started. So pretty amazing set of resources, which I didn't know existed.
I would just add that, SCORE nationally has updated a lot of their systems and, websites and search functions that does make it easier for us to reach out to other folks across the country for specific expertise. So SCORE is national as well as moving, into the latest technology. Yeah.
I'd just like to add, when I co-mentor, frequently a question comes up. I know part of the answer to the client's situation. Again, most of my clients are selling products, and I understand that part of the business. Possibly due to my age, I have no clue what's going on in the technology world. I recently bought a new laptop that's got a lot more memory than the Etch-a-Sketch I had been using. But so by co-mentoring, I'm able to bring in expertise to help the client that I just don't have.
All right. Next one, we're going to start with Barb. Are there barriers to communication?
I would say yes. Does everyone agree? Yes, definitely. Barriers to communication, I think, stem from a lot of things, but one of the things that I work with in my industry is the way people communicate. And some people like to communicate through speaking, some people like to communicate through writing, and others like to demonstrate, to physically stand up and show and tell. And so I think that's one of the aspects that I think is important for SCORE mentors and how they communicate and guide mentors, but also how we sort of communicate and help them communicate to their audiences out in the world as in terms of their clients. So I would say yes, and there's so much more to that question, but I'll leave you with that.
All right, I'm going to bring up something from my K-12 teacher days. VAKT, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile. So I think you hit all of those, but there's a little acronym that goes along with it. Okay, we're going to give the next one to Ed. Are there any unexpected benefits of collaboration?
One of the benefits I've found, and dealing with people that are selling products, what I try to do is get the client in touch with different people within that industry that either sell it, make it, or consume it. Because many times the client just has no clue how a system works. It's not uncommon for me to get a client, in fact, I've got a couple of them right now, that want to bake something at home and go sell it at Walmart. Well, I try to give them a reality check. And by doing that, the person I can connect them with, whether it be a food broker, a retailer, or something else, that person reinforces what I'm telling the client, which gives me greater credibility with the client, as well as picking up some ideas or something that perhaps I hadn't thought of.
I guess I'll just add that sometimes when you listen to what the client is saying, you come up with other ideas that you didn't think of before you started the session, which is pretty much an unexpected benefit.
And I would just add, I do a lot of mentoring in the nonprofit area, and one of the things we tell clients, I'm sorry, usually something we tell clients on the very first visit is, are there other nonprofits out there that you can either go volunteer with or learn from them before you start off on your own path. And that seems to work very well. Giving experience, getting, building a network, and learning how a nonprofit runs, but it also works with for-profit businesses as well.
I think one that I found, which is on the soft side, is friendships. I think collaboration equals friendships in the end, and it's a really unexpected benefit. Sometimes you become real friends with who you're working with over the years, which we've seen today through your mentoring.
Okay. So now we're going to head to what I'm going to call a lightning round, questions for fun. These folks do not know what questions they're going to be asked. Typically, it might be a one-word answer, but if you need to expound upon it, I think we still have time on our side. So I think the thing to do that's most efficient is I'm going to have you take the mic and pass it down and then bring it back, okay? So, favorite day of the week?
Monday.
Friday.
Friday.
Sunday.
Saturday. Okay. Favorite ice cream?
Maple walnut.
Cherry Garcia.
Chocolate.
Anything chocolate.
Spouse like a house. It's pretzels and chocolate. Okay. Favorite city in the US besides the one you live in?
Pass.
Nashville.
Philly.
Philly.
Orlando. I'm going to go see my man Mickey next week. Nickname your family called or call you now.
Stork.
I am called Lady B.
Just not late for dinner.
Although it doesn't quite fit now, it did when I was little. Skinny Linny. Okay, what's your favorite holiday?
I got this one. Thanksgiving.
4th of July.
I'm going to say Christmas.
I would say Christmas.
Thanksgiving. All right. Pet peeve.
Passing the microphone. Pet peeve. Oh, robocalls.
Dishes left in the sink.
Anyone caught throwing trash on the ground?
Microphones that don't work.
Oxford commas. Please use them. Okay. I still have more lightning round questions, but I want to give an opportunity for any audience members to ask questions to the panel before I do more lightning round questions. So does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask? Raise your hand.
Hi, guys. What inspired you to be a SCORE mentor?
It sounds kind of hokey, but it was really to help the community and to give back. I think, like many of the people in this room, I've been very fortunate in my life and in my career, and a lot of people just willingly helped me that I didn't know. And so I wanted to be one of those people.
Yeah, a couple of things inspired me. One was my father, who was not a SCORE member, but he was involved in the SCORE chapters, and I learned about it at a pretty young age. And the second is really just to give back. And after helping a small business turn their business around, I realized that I could actually do this and help people.
I think for me, being an outsider, I was looking for community. I was looking for people. And with COVID, I just felt like I was alone, and not being from here, it's hard to make friends when you live in a different city. So I think for me, it was a selfish reason to actually get into more relationships and learn about other people quickly and be in an organization that actually functions pretty well.
For me, it started out when I retired. I was looking for something to do. I thought this would be fun. It's developed into a place where I met some incredible business people. The friendships we're building, the mentoring that we do together. I get to learn a lot from it. I get to help some entrepreneurs avoid some of the mistakes that I made in business or I've seen in business. And I just enjoy the business atmosphere and the professionalism that is throughout SCORE.
Where's Jerry Francis? Stand up. Oh, he had to leave? Okay. So I was at Cabrini College at Warren Camp's career fair. And I walked up to the SCORE booth, and Jerry Francis, there he is. He's responsible for me, okay? So Jerry says, come behind the booth, okay? So he wanted to talk to me one-on-one, and he's the one that got me involved in SCORE. Now, back in the 90s, when I lived in California, my husband and I started a general contracting and construction management firm. We got it up to about 5 to 7 million a year. We had 24 employees. That was my first entrepreneurship experience. Sadly, he passed from leukemia, but I just kept the entrepreneurship spirit alive. And even though I've had several jobs, I left my last job in 2017 and jumped off that proverbial cliff and said, instead of entrepreneur, I'm a teacherpreneur. So I like teaching people. So I'm on the Speakers Bureau and work a lot with Vic Goldberg. Raise your hand, okay? So he sets me up to do a lot of presentations. So I like helping people and imparting knowledge. Any more? Any more questions?
Raise your hand if you've ever referred a person to join SCORE. All right. Now raise your hand if you've ever referred someone to have a SCORE mentor or attend a workshop. All right, you guys all get lunch. Okay.
All right, well, let's have a hand for our panelists today. Thank you very much. You may go back to your tables and we'll continue on with our presentation of our winners.
This is the same one, is it? Oh, well. Okay, now back to our awards. Not that these are any less significant, but we broke it up a little bit today. And so the next one, I want to invite up Frank Milheim to come up for his winning client, Advanced EEO Solutions.
Thank you. Hey, I wanted to point out that Garrison will not be here today. His wife is expecting, and he didn't want to travel and be away for this, but he's interested. I've dealt with him for a couple of years, and it was mentioned earlier, he's in South Carolina. And this was also mentioned earlier, it's one score. It isn't just little pockets, chapters. It's one score. So what he did is he looked on the SCORE website and looked for mentors, found me. He was happy, and he set up a mentoring relationship there. Now his business is, as was mentioned, is Advanced EEO Solutions. EEO is Equal Employment Employment Opportunity, rather. And he does consulting for the federal government where they need help with that within the federal government. And he initially came to work with me. He wanted to get certified, and that's just a little part of the government bureaucracy. If you get certified, it helps you in your competition. And so he successfully got certified. Then it turned out in 2019 and 2000, he reviewed his people. He was subcontracting to government primes. And he looked at those. These were ones that he was familiar with and he was working with and comfortable with. And they all were quite up there. And he said they may all disappear. And he saw his business disappearing potentially. So he made the strategic decision to go and be a prime himself. And so the challenge that you have there is that he has to learn how to successfully identify, bid on these opportunities, perform on these government contracts, which before he just had to perform. The other part was done by the primes. So by the end of 2022, he had converted 90% of his business to prime contracts, and his revenue had increased by a factor of 4. Now, some of that revenue is going to subs, but he's managing that around. And so I'd like to say SCORE supported Garrison during these changes, and we're delighted to recognize his success.
I started my business in 2012. We investigate claims for the EEOC. We do EEO investigations, which is Equal Employment Opportunity Investigations. So if someone's been discriminated against based on race, age, disability, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, there's a lot of different protective classes. We'll go in and investigate to see if there's discrimination that occurred. Of course, we're neutral fact finders, but we put together the report of investigation. The challenges and struggles that brought me to SCORE about 3 or 4 years ago were I was trying to break into learning government contracting, and that was within the federal government. It's an entirely complete different business than what my niche expertise is in. My SCORE mentor, Frank Milheim, fit exactly the profile I was looking for at that time. And I was looking for someone that had experience in federal government contracting. And Frank, he had already been through it working at a large company for many years that was in the federal government that had revenue of multi-billions of dollars. Frank, he taught me how to be basically a shark in the water. He explained what the bigger companies were doing and some of their tactics and what worked, what didn't work, different things about contracting. So I was able to use Frank as a sounding board. He was able to tweak, give ideas of different things that I can do to get market share. And what I did was I took all that and I took it back down to where I am. I'm in small business. And then I utilized it there. So I was using tactics that small business owners had never, had used against them before. And that enabled my company to gain market share. Our current challenges or struggles are basically finding qualified people to fit in the right seats while we're scaling the business. Collaboration is important in helping your business grow. I bootstrapped my business from the bottom. I was able to wear multiple hats and do many things. As I wanted to grow my business and I wanted to scale my business, I had to collaborate with people that knew certain things that I had no education in. Basically, that was a learning curve for me because I was used to trying to do everything myself. So collaboration is definitely important if you want to go beyond what you were able to do or achieve yourself.
And last but certainly not least, award winner Life Made Easy. Would Richard Lee come up and Marina join us as well?
Thanks. Marina started her business in Philadelphia as a residential and commercial cleaning business back in 2020. She came to SCORE in December of 21 looking for advice about how to grow her business without as much direct involvement as she felt it required at the time. Marina thought that franchising might be the solution, which is where I came in. If franchising didn't pan out, she would seriously consider selling it. She'd had it. She'd completely and felt totally overwhelmed with the business. SCORE provided three areas of support. First and foremost, we just listened. Marina needed somebody external to her life to talk to. SCORE provided that by listening to her issues, understanding her concerns, and then offering real life practical suggestions. Second, SCORE helped Marina organize her business activities and create a coherent strategy. And finally, SCORE supported Marina as she focused on the financial position of her company and addressed her employee management issues. Today, Marina is in a business or in a completely different place. The business is exploding. Since 2021, her profit has more than doubled. She is extremely confident in her ability to manage all aspects of her business and to balance her work-life aspects. But fortunately, timing couldn't have been better. Marina was just married last June and opened a second location in Lehigh County where she's currently living. There are many aspects of Marina's story that are impressive, but none more so than how she has made a substantial local impact on a horrific global situation. Marina is Ukrainian. While the efforts of a single individual can have little impact, Marina found a way to make an important difference. As you all know, virtually every business, large and small, constantly deals with the problems of finding and retaining quality employees. Being a service business, Marina had experienced that problem more than most. But she landed on a novel approach to overcome that obstacle. She contacted Ukrainian aid organizations in Philadelphia and placed help wanted ads for cleaning technicians in local Russian language publications. The result was overwhelming. She now has a waiting list of skilled, highly motivated Ukrainian women looking to work for her. The new staff feel more comfortable in a new country where they are working with someone who speaks their language and understands their culture. By offering gainful and reliable employment, Marina has reduced their worry about supporting their families both in the US and at home. But no less important, Marina has found an extremely reliable and skilled employees for her business. Marina is rightfully proud of her accomplishments, and I hope she looks forward to a great future. I'm pleased to introduce Marina Lawrence.
The name of my business is Life Made Easy. It was founded in March 2019. Life Made Easy is a commercial and residential cleaning company based out of Lehigh Valley and Philadelphia. And our focus is on saving time for people so they could have their lives back. What inspired me to found Life Made Easy is that I have always been very entrepreneurial and business driven, and Life Made Easy was a project that I thought I could really take off using my previous IT, accounting, and business management skills that I had learned in my previous jobs in the past. I first connected with SCORE in December of 2022. At that point, I had many issues within my business and I was looking to sell my business. The issues that I had within my business were financial, tracking, creating goals, and employee management. When I first met Richard Lee, my SCORE mentor, he had asked me to lay out all of my financials to start with so that I could have a better understanding of how my business was doing financially. So Richard helped me guide through that process, which I had never done so before to such a level that he had taught. Richard had also helped me deal with employment issues, dealing with difficult employees, dealing with difficult clients. And Richard was overall a great sounding board. I needed somebody to talk with, somebody who had experience in running their own business. With that, Richard helped me tremendously. I felt like I was heard. I felt like I had great guidance, and I felt like my business finally had goals to work towards. My current challenges and concerns about the business is keeping up with the growth of my business. We have recently opened a second branch in Lehigh Valley. Lehigh Valley has been very successful and in fact exploding. So we're working hard to make sure that we keep up with all the processes, to make sure that all the quality is consistent and that our customers, most importantly, are very happy with our services.
Did Chris Rabb or one of his representatives here today? Okay, well, we do have a citation for you from the House of Representatives from your district, so I guess he couldn't be here. Congratulations. They're going to go get some more pictures. Okay, that concludes the awards ceremony. And we want to give a big hand to not only all the winners, but all the mentors that are here as well. Thank you. Some amazing stories. How creative to get Ukrainian refugees or Ukrainian community as employees, right? That blows my mind that there's a lot of creativity that comes into owning and running a business. We've heard a lot of amazing stories from all the winners, and it's important insight and reflections from our guests. We applaud all of the clients who collaborate in their efforts to succeed. They can be with customers, other companies, with SCORE, with their representatives. There's lots of ways to collaborate. I often tell people when they come, if they're really not knowledgeable in a particular business, that doesn't mean they can't succeed, but find a partner to work with, you know. And before we go, we have a few more thank yous and one more door prize, so don't go away yet. Again, we want to thank our sponsor, Citadel, for the generous support for today's event. Not only did they financially support this, but they lent us studio space for a number of these videos. And we want to thank Jake Ferry from Active Image Video for the videography and the editing that's going on. And we want to thank all the mentors and volunteers in the chapter, not just the ones who are here today, but everybody for all the work and energy and time they put into helping the community. Special thanks to Maria Diaz for leading the awards committee. For those that don't know, Maria was the chapter chair last year, and I succeeded her, followed her into this, but she didn't stop. She's been relentless in driving this, so thank you. And she's got a very active committee, Kat Weissenberger, Jerry Francis, Vic Goldberg, Judith Lee, and Denise Lynch, all of which put this whole thing together. And finally, thank you to Ashley Price-Horton for our multi-talented SCORE volunteer for the photography she did today. And now one more door prize. Who has moved the most for homes? You know, moved around the country, moved different jobs, have had different houses. Has anybody lived in 15 houses or apartments or something? Oh! How many? And Marina?
Definitely more than 15, but I believe.
Well, we'll split the difference and you each get a prize. All right. So that concludes the program for today. Thank you all for coming out. It's a great sunny day. Hit the links or the pool or something and have a great day.